Good morning. How is everybody doing out there today? Having a bad hair day. Today we're reading from the book of Jubilee, chapter 32. It's been a good book. We're getting close to the end. Chapter 32. Let me get this right. And he abroad that night at Bethel, and Levi dreamed that they had ordained and made him the priest of the Most High God, him and his sons forever. And he awoke from his sleep, and he blessed the Lord. And Jacob rose early in the morning on the 14th of the month, and he gave a tithe of all that came with him, both of men and cattle, both of gold and every vessel and garment. Yea, he gave tithes to all. And in those days Rachel became pregnant with her son Benjamin. And Jacob counted his sons from him upwards, and Levi fell to the proportion of the Lord, and his father clothed him in the garments of priesthood, and filled his hands. On the 15th of the month he brought to the altar 14 oxen from amongst the cattle, and 28 rams, and 49 sheep, and 7 lambs, and 21 kids of goats, as a burnt offering on the altar of sacrifice, well pleasing for a sweet savor before God. This was his offering in consequence of the vow in which he had vowed that he would give a tenth of their fruit offerings and their drink offerings. And when the fire had consumed it, he burnt incense on the fire over the fire, and for a thank offering 2 oxen and 4 ram and 4 sheep, 4 he-goats and 2 sheep of a year old, and 2 kids of the goats. And thus he did daily for 7 days. And he and all his sons and his men were eating this with joy there during 7 days of blessing and thanking the Lord, who had delivered him out of all his tribulations. Remember, all his tribulations. And he had given him his vow, and he tithed all the clean animals and made the burnt sacrifice. But the unclean animals he gave not to Levi his son, and he gave him all the souls of the men. And Levi discharged the priestly office at Bethel before Jacob his father, in preference to his 10 brothers, and he was a priest there. And Jacob gave his vow. Thus he tithed again, and tithed to the Lord, and sanctified it, and it became holy unto him. And for this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets as a law for the tithing again, and the tithe to eat before the Lord from year to year, and in the place where it is chosen that his name should dwell. And to this law there is no limit of days forever. This ordinance is written that it may be fulfilled from year to year in eating the second tithe before the Lord in the place where it has been chosen. And nothing shall remain over from it from this year to the year following. For it is in its year shall the seed be eaten till the days of the gathering, and the seed of the year, and the wine till the days of the wine, and the oil till the days of its season. And all that is left thereof and becomes old, let it be regarded as polluted. Let it be burnt with fire, for it is unclean. And thus let them eat together in the sanctuary, and let them not suffer it to become old. And all the tithes of the oxen and the sheep shall be holy unto the Lord, and shall belong to his priests, which they will eat before him from year to year. For thus it is ordained and engraved and regarded, the tithe of heavenly tablets. And on the following night, on the 22nd day of this month, Jacob resolved to build that place to surround the court with a wall to sanctify it, and make it holy forever for himself and his children after him. And the Lord appeared to him by night and blessed him, and said unto him, Thy name shall not be called Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he said unto him again, I am the Lord who created the heavens and the earth, and I will increase thee and multiply thee exceedingly. And the kings shall come forth from thee, and they shall judge everywhere wherever the foot of the sons of men have trodden. And I will give to thy seed all the earth which is under heaven, and they shall judge all the nations according to their desires. And after that they shall get possessions of the whole earth and inherit it forever. And he finished speaking with him, and he went up from him, and Jacob looked till he had ascended into heaven, and he saw in a vision of the night, and behold, an angel descended from heaven with 7 tablets in his hand. And he gave them to Jacob, and he read them, and knew all that was written thereon, which would befall him and his sons throughout all the ages. And he showed him all that was written on the tablets, and said unto him, Do not build this place, and do not make it an eternal sanctuary, and do not dwell here, for this is not the place. Go to the house of Abraham thy father, and dwell with Isaac thy father until the day of the death of thy father. For Egypt thou shalt die in peace, and this land shall be buried with honor in the scepter of thy fathers, and Abraham and Isaac. Fear not, for as thou hast seen and read it, thus shall it all be. And do thou write down everything as thou hast seen and read. And Jacob said, Lord, how can I remember all that I have read and seen? And he said unto him, I will bring all things to thy remembrance. And he went up from him, and he awoke from his sleep, and he remembered everything which he had read and seen. And he wrote it all down in words in which he had read and seen. He celebrated there yet another day, and he sacrificed thereon according to all that he sacrificed on the former days, and called its name Addition. For this day he was added from the former days he called the feast. And thus it was manifested that it should be. And it is written in the heavenly tablets, wherefore it was revealed to him that he should celebrate it, and add it to the 7 days of feast. And its name was called Addition, because that it was recorded amongst the days of the feast according to the number of days of the year. And in the night, on the 23rd of the month, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died. And they buried her beneath the city under the oak of the river, and called the name of this place the river of Deborah. And the oak of the morning of Deborah, and Rebekah went and returned to her house, to her father Isaac. And Jacob sent by her hand rams and sheep and he-goats, that she should prepare a meal for his father, such as he desired. And he went after his mother till he came to the land of Cabratan, and he dwelt there. And Rachel bare a son in the night, and called his name Son of my sorrow, for she suffered in giving him birth. And his father called his name Benjamin. On the 11th of the 8th month, in the first of the 6th week, this Jubilee, and Rachel died there, and she was buried in the land of Ephrath, and same is Bethlehem. And Jacob built a pillar on the grave of Rachel on the road above her grave. Everyone have a blessed and wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.